the zone of monsters and beasts. This is how one might describe Black Dolphin, the most terrifying prison in Russia, located in the Orenburg region. There, under extremely harsh conditions, the most dangerous criminals serve life sentences. Maniacs, cannibals, terrorists, and organizers of criminal groups. The prison earned its informal name, Black Dolphin, after a sculpture of this noble animal appeared on its grounds. Yes, the contrast is quite striking. The sculpture was created by a rapist and murderer, Vladimir, who was sentenced to death in 1996 for killing 2 people. Krzysztofa and his cellmates made the dolphin using papier-mâché, painting it with the only available color in the prison at the time, black. In a well-known song by Russian rapper Gio Pika, there is a line, "Black Dolphin, you only get to see it once." This is a metaphor suggesting that one can only pass by the sculpture of the Black Dolphin once upon entering the prison. There is no way back. For whom? Well, for many of the lifers. Some of them have requested parole, but so far no one has succeeded. It is said that judges automatically reject such requests, considering who they are coming from. Thus, Black Dolphin remains a place from which one can only leave in one way: feet first. That's regarding the song and the metaphor. But in reality, new arrivals do not even see the sculpture of the Black Dolphin. This is because when they are brought into the prison, a black bag is placed over their heads. This is done for 2 reasons: to disorient the prisoners and prevent them from memorizing the layout of the external surroundings, to protect them from being killed. There are several multi-story buildings around the prison where snipers could be positioned. Some inmates know more than their accomplices on the outside would like them to. Currently, Black Dolphin houses approximately 900 inmates. The number of guards is almost equal to the number of prisoners. The guards refer to their charges as specimens, derived from the word convict. To reiterate, the population of Black Dolphin consists of the most dangerous criminals: robbers, maniacs, cannibals, terrorists, and leaders of organized crime groups. Collectively, they are responsible for over 3,000 lives lost. One of the most infamous inmates at Black Dolphin is Vladimir Nikolaev from Czechoslovakia, convicted of 2 murders. In 1997, he was involved in the death of his acquaintance, an act that shocked the community due to its extreme nature. Nikolaev's actions took a horrifying turn when it was revealed that he had engaged in cannibalism, using parts of his victim in a way that defied all moral boundaries. His crimes were further exposed when he attempted to deceive others by claiming the remains were from an animal. This deception led to a disturbing discovery by those who unknowingly consumed what he had provided. Nikolaev was initially sentenced to death, but due to a moratorium, his sentence was commuted to life imprisonment. Another inmate, Alexander Maslich, a former resident of the Altai region, was convicted of killing 4 people, including a fellow inmate. His crimes were marked by extreme violence, and he was known to have engaged in acts of cannibalism, which shocked even those familiar with his case. These actions ensured that he would never be eligible for parole, solidifying his place in Black Dolphin. Also serving time in Black Dolphin is Alexander Glick, known as the Togliatti Ripper. Glick was convicted of crimes involving harm to minors and the deaths of several individuals, including children. His actions were not only violent but also deeply calculated, leaving a lasting impact on the community. When questioned about his motives, Glick made statements that revealed a chilling lack of remorse, further underscoring the severity of his crimes. Conditions in the prison vary, with stricter measures in place for those who violate the rules. The facility is designed to ensure security and prevent any further harm, housing some of the most dangerous individuals in the country. Here is an interview with one of the inmates of Black Dolphin, who was transferred to standard conditions and thus could answer a few questions. He wished to remain anonymous. How long have you been here?
It's been 10 years now. Before that, I was in another prison in the Sverdlovsk region.
Are the conditions different?
Yes, it was freer there. We could receive packages without restrictions, and we were housed in cells with 6 people.
Is that better?
If there are 6 people, yes. You have the chance to choose who to talk to, who to build relationships with.
What is life imprisonment like?
Life imprisonment is growing loneliness. The longer it goes on, the worse it gets. That's the main thing, because over time, you realize that the longer you sit, the fewer people remain who remember you.
Do you have any contact with your family, your parents?
Yes, I have parents, a brother, and a few friends left. We still write to each other.
What's your relationship with your father, for example?
Normal, like between a father and son. Now my parents can even visit me because I've been transferred to standard conditions. I can have long visits with relatives up to 3 days, not just 4 hours like before.
What do you think about here? What do you remember?
Well, how to put it? Memory is a tricky thing. In the first years you remember things. All the bad stuff you could recall, you recall it. But now only the good remains. My memory has idealized how I lived on the outside, but in reality, it wasn't like that. In my memory, it's a different reality now.
Do you regret what you did?
On one hand, yes. You see, the longer you sit, the differently you perceive what you've done. I do regret it, but the quality of my regret change is every day. It doesn't grow or diminish, it's always different. For example, today, I might lack something here in prison, and through that lack, I perceive my regret. Tomorrow, a letter from home might arrive. Something happens there, and I can't do anything about it. And then I perceive my regret through that. I don't know if I'm explaining it well. 10 years in prison takes its toll. It's hard to express your thoughts, you know.
Can you say you get used to everything?
You know, that's the worst part. I no longer think about life on the outside. I see myself only as part of the prison.
Life for inmates in Black Dolphin is strictly regulated and resembles Groundhog Day. Every day is the same. At 6 a.m., it's wake up, followed by making the beds. The cell contains a mirror, a toilet, a chair, and a nightstand. Prisoners must keep their clothes in perfect condition. Shoes must be without lace, as you understand why. Breakfast starts at 6:30. During this time, they can listen to the radio, which sometimes features religious preachers who visit the prison. Among the inmates of Black Dolphin, converting to religion is common. At 8:00, the inspection begins. Prisoners must obey the guard's commands. When the cell door opens, the inmate must approach the wall, place their hands behind their back, raise them, state their name, and list the articles under which they are serving their sentence. The cell inspection starts the moment handcuffs are applied. After the inspection, the prisoner is led into the corridor. Inmates are moved in the ostrich position, bent over, head down, hands behind their back, and eyes covered for disorientation. This is how Black Dolphin prevents suicide attempts, escapes, or attacks on staff. Handcuffs are removed only in the chapel, allowing prisoners to cross themselves, and in the shower. However, showers are taken in special cages. In addition to guards, inmates are accompanied by a dog handler and a dog during movements. The dogs are trained for years in a kennel at Black Dolphin. They sometimes face real danger. Once, an aggressive inmate tried to strangle a shepherd dog. At 9 a.m., the medical round begins. A prison doctor monitors the inmate's health daily. If a prisoner is in good condition, they may be allowed to go for a walk, not in a yard, but in a small cage just a few meters long. Lunch at Black Dolphin is at 1 p.m. The food is basic, mostly soup and bread. After lunch, inmates clean their cells, then listen to the radio until 5 p.m. and dinner is at 6 p.m. The evening inspection takes place at 8:30 p.m. and at 10 p.m. inmates go to bed. Darkness often breeds evil intentions, so prisoners sleep with the lights on. In Black Dolphin, sitting or lying on the bunks before lights out is prohibited. Inmates must always be visible to the cell camera or the guard. If they lie on the bunks, they could hide their actions under a blanket and perform prohibited activities, such as sharpening a spoon or toothbrush, making a weapon, creating a noose from threads or fabric scraps, mixing plaster and dust to throw in a guard's eyes, or taking stolen pills to harm themselves and get sent to the medical unit, where conditions are much softer. Prisoners can come up with the most unusual ways to use ordinary objects. Inmates in Black Dolphin are allowed to watch TV, but no more than 4 hours a day. They can only watch content from central channels, no violence or advertising, to remind the staff of Black Dolphin who they are guarding. Plaques listing each inmate's crimes hang at the entrance to every cell. Black Dolphin is a terrifying place, one you wouldn't wish on your worst enemy. What goes on in the souls of its inmates remains a mystery, and that's if they even have souls.